So speaking of AG Pam Bondi and the whole Epstein debacle, which just could not have been handled more poorly, in my personal humble opinion, you have a couple new developments. Number one, the court that President Trump directed Pam Bondi to go to ask them to release all of the testimony. The court now has questions on, you need to be more specific. Whose testimony do you want? And, do we have victim impact statements on whether or not have we considered those? Do we have them? So the court is pushing back now on whether or not they want to release that. But now Pam Bondi, despite that setback, posted on X this was a statement from her Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. The joint statement by the DOJ and FBI of July 6th remains as accurate today as when it was written. Namely, that in the recent thorough review of the files maintained by the FBI in the Epstein case, no evidence was uncovered that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. President Trump has told us to release all credible evidence. If Ghislaine Maxwell has information about anyone who has committed crimes against victims, the FBI and the DOJ will hear what she has to say. Therefore, at the direction of Attorney General Bondi, I have communicated with counsel for Ms. Maxwell to determine whether she would be willing to speak with prosecutors from the department. I anticipate meeting with Ms. Maxwell in the coming days, and Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney has confirmed in a response that they are in discussions with the government and that Ghislaine will, they say, always testify truthfully. I mean, if you can't trust a sex trafficker, who can you trust, right? We're grateful to President Trump for his commitment to uncovering the truth in this case. On top of that, the House Oversight Committee this was actually led by Tim Burchett. They voted to subpoena Ghislaine Maxwell over the Epstein files as well. So things are, I would say, heating up in this, despite the completely botched handling of this from the get-go. We may actually find some truth here.
This was so botched on that Sunday, and it was, of course, released on purpose immediately following the Texas flooding disaster here, thinking that would obscure and distract from this release. The timing on a Sunday, I mean, this is just not when you do it unless it's on purpose for that reason, right, to hide it. Well, obviously they miscalculated. It was a much bigger blunder than, or it became a blunder. It was much more of an issue that the MAGA base cared about than they anticipated. Mm-hmm. They weren't able to distract or hide it. And so it blew up, and I went after it. I mean, for the next 24 hours, I was relentless, and I was going after them all. Yep. Bondi, Cash, Bongino, yep. the whole crowd. Yep. It was a joint sign-off between the FBI and DOJ, despite what the FBI has put out since then and said, oh, no, that was DOJ, that wasn't us. FBI is DOJ. Don't listen to that crap.
Right.
And then on Monday night, or technically Tuesday morning at 1:38 a.m., I got a call from the 7th floor of a particular building where a former FBI director used to prance around in women's clothing. And so they say. And so I get a phone call in the middle of the night telling me to back off.
Shut up.
No, not kidding. And I was...
Wait, did you answer?
Yeah, we spoke for an hour and a half.
Are you awake?
I was just falling asleep.
Really?
And I got a message, and we proceeded to talk until 3 a.m. And basically, and I've really struggled about going public with this, but I'm angry enough 2 weeks later that someone in government called a member of the press and threatened me saying, if you don't back off, you're never going to get anything else from us. And I went, after I thought about it for 24, 48, 72 hours, I went, screw that.
Screw you, yeah.
No, this is not the way. It's not the way it works.
What would make us any different than what we criticized with the Biden administration and the left-wing media carrying the water of Joe Biden? I mean, what would make us any different if it's like, oh, I'm sorry, we can only cover stories that don't, you only like, right? You approve.
Right.
And anything that you don't approve of, if we have any criticisms, we're not allowed to cover that all of a sudden. I mean, that would make us no different than the opposing party that we so hastily criticize, and rightfully so. Yeah. But we have to do different. This administration should know better.
They should, and I'm sure that well, I won't comment on that. Let's just put, here's the funny thing. They had your phone number, but they didn't know your character.
Right.
They think the FBI didn't, I'm the guy that, the only one of some 1,600 J6 defendants that in his pretrial restrictions, I'm the only one, and I wear this with a badge of honor, was told by the court and by the government that I could no longer drunk text my FBI agent.
I love that so much.
And even then, you're the FBI. Don't you want the guys you're investigating to be drunk texting you?
Right.
Yeah, get all the evidence you can.
I mean, that's how stupid they are.
Yeah.
They're not as smart as we think they are. They're the preeminent law enforcement agency in the world, and that is just stupid. And we haven't had a chance to be on here and just talk about the rogue agent story we did a few weeks ago. I was down in Florida tracking this, and they're not smart. And then after
Which is
we outed
really
that,
concerning, actually.
It is.
It's
They
very
started doing it
At the end of the day,
again.
they're still government employees.
right? Well, that's just it.
Yeah.
Here's what I think, though. Again, let's do a little bit of reading between the lines, right? You're looking at me like, what are you going to say?
I mean, I never know with you guys.
I think that, I mean, obviously, if you're looking at chain of title of what's happened with these files, have been all over the place. I mean, Southern District of New York, it's been a bit of a disaster.
The chain of command.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where all the files are.
Where it's all,
whether they still exist.
Who dealt with them,
Yep.
whether or not someone tampered with them that we don't know, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if they're talking about going to Ghislaine Maxwell, well, firstly, I'd say check your camera, Ghislaine, right? Make sure that there's not a minute gap, right? Because I'd be like,
A lot can happen in a minute.
getting ready in that minute at midnight. But what this could do is it could open up, because you've normally you want to get rid of any kind of way of them getting evidence, right? And they did it with Epstein, but they didn't do it. Allegedly, did it with Epstein, should I say? I mean, but with her, she's alive. She's motivated to spill the beans, right? Because I'm sure they'll probably give her a carrot, right, to get out earlier.
Well, she wasn't offered a plea deal originally,
right? Well,
she has every reason to be like, "Hey, you work with me, I'll work with you."
Well, and
Why
also,
not?
she's going to say, "Well, there are no victims and there are no, perpetrators." Like, hang on a minute,
Right.
because if you don't have a perpetrator, how can you have a victim? I don't understand that. But anyway, she's got every reason to sit down and spill the beans on all these people that just threw her under the bus, and she's looking at dying in prison. So you want to get out,
Why
right?
not?
If she
Yeah.
can get out in 5 years and be protected, because that's what she's going to have to be protected. Clearly, it'll be interesting to see where this goes. Because maybe, look, I don't understand how they can't have all the information, but if they don't have the information, this is clearly a way that they can get the names that they need to get for a prosecution. I don't understand how you can convict someone when you don't have a perpetrator to a crime.
Yeah, well, they're obviously were customers in this process. When Epstein was arrested the first time down in Florida, 2006, you've probably seen it. It's publicly available. The FBI statement to Epstein and his attorneys on FBI, letterhead on one of their forms says as long as he, keeps with the plea deal that they struck for him in Florida, we're not going to pursue any more, charges or problems for Jeffrey Epstein.
He's cooperating with us.
But what did the charge say on that document? What was he charged with? Child prostitution. He was selling children then. That means there has to be customers.
Exactly.
Now, we're probably never going to see that list. And it's probably not even really a list. It's a lot of cases, a lot of case files.
Right.
There may be somebody who's compiled it in some form or the other. But that treasure trove of information, I don't think the DOJ has it.
Well, that's what.
That's
what I'm kind of hinting at, is that they don't.
But who does? Because it exists.
Somebody's got to have it.
Someone has it somewhere.
Yeah.
It's just too valuable.
It's one of the intelligence agencies. Period. I mean, look, that's who controls the database. That's who controls the videos. That's who controls the tons of gigabytes of information about this particular case. And I don't think FBI, I don't think Pam Bondi actually have that.
Which would make a lot of sense. I think
it would, but it's that. Be that as it may, it still really bothers me that she again had her office build these binders, put a header on the cover, a piece of paper that says Epstein files for your eyes only. Here you go. Push them out in front of the cameras to go get pictures taken of them, knowing that you didn't have anything, that there was no there that you were giving.
Why would you do
like,
that?
It just doesn't sit right
can we
with
just
me.
game that out a little bit?
Yeah, real quick.
Why? Why would you do that?
I can't come up with just like an innocent reason for it.
It makes zero sense. There's no upside to it at all.
No, there's no upside to that, but there's also no upside to Kash Patel sitting a year and a half ago on the other side of this wall right here in Glenn's office and telling him it's a little black book, and the director of the FBI has it. I guarantee it.
Yeah. And now nothing to say. And now Kash Patel and Dan Bongino look like they're being held hostage at gunpoint in their Fox News interview. Like, he killed him. I don't know what to tell you. He killed himself. That's that. It's just, none of it makes sense at all. If you like this clip and you want to see the full episode, click here. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, come on, you know you do. Click here.